Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt like the odds are just completely stacked against you, well, you're exactly who I want to talk to today. We're going to walk through a step-by-step chronological blueprint for building real wealth from absolute zero. Think of this as a one-on-one mentor session built specifically for young, aspiring entrepreneurs just like you. Because here's the secret. Making millions doesn't have to take decades of backbreaking work, and you absolutely don't need to be born into money. All right, let's jump right in. Here is the game plan for today. We're covering 5 key steps: cultivating a wealth mindset, taking calculated career risks, starting your investing journey, building a diversified portfolio, and finally, protecting that new empire of yours. Step 1. Cultivating a wealth mindset.
You know, the exact moment society tries to cap your ambition usually happens pretty early on. The author of our source material was a working-class kid, didn't have a penny to his name. Back in school, when a teacher asked him to write down his dream job and future assets, he excitedly wrote down business owner, Ferrari, and a mansion. The teacher's response? They literally told him to, quote, be realistic and lower your expectations. Ouch, right? But he decided right then and there to completely reject that mindset. And that's exactly what you have to do. You've got to believe in your own vision to overcome that early external doubt.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this: you must fiercely protect your ambition. If you genuinely want to break the cycle and build wealth from nothing, you have to be exceptionally careful about who you listen to. And I'm not just talking about tuning out those fake internet gurus. I mean your friends, your parents. They might have the absolute best intentions in the world, but honestly, if they haven't built a large sum of wealth themselves, why on earth would you take their financial advice? It just doesn't make sense. Simply put, you have to tune out the noise of the herd. Moving on to step 2, taking calculated career risks.
When you're vetting potential career risks, like, say, quitting a job or jumping into a totally new business idea, you need a logical checklist. Take the author. When he was 20, he was a carpenter's apprentice, stuck with a terrible manager. He stepped back, evaluated his life, and realized, wait, I have no dependents and very few responsibilities. Step 1 was crystal clear. He realized the biggest risk wasn't actually quitting to start something new. The real danger was staying stuck in that dead-end job. When you're young, that lack of responsibility is literally your greatest leverage. So use it and pivot fearlessly.
So if you're going to take that calculated risk, what exactly should you pivot to? Listen, the absolute biggest risk you can take is blind loyalty to an employer who captures potential. To seriously bump up your earnings, you could start your own business or launch a side hustle. If you'd rather stick to the employee route, studies actually show you're much more likely to build wealth faster by job hopping every couple of years rather than just staying stubbornly loyal to one company. Or try actively seeking out roles with results-based compensation. That way, your income isn't just chained to how many hours you clock in.
All right, step 3, starting your investing journey. You absolutely must begin your investing journey early, but you've got to have a strategy. Our source shares this crazy anecdote. After finding massive success opening a model shop, he was reinvesting literally everything back into the business. Then one day, a 14-year-old work experience kid comes in, totally hyping up this specific stock he was dumping his own savings into. The author basically just blindly followed the trend, and wouldn't you know it, 2 weeks later, the stock had pretty much 10x'd overnight. He made a quick 10 grand. Now, while this showed him the undeniable immense power of the market, it also highlighted a massive red flag. It is completely crazy to just blindly follow trends without a real strategy. You need a long-term approach.
But whatever you do not just sit on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment. A study by Fidelity looked at the stock market over 4 decades. Think about this. If you stayed fully invested, you captured 100% of your potential gains. But if you tried to time the market and missed just the 5 best trading days out of 40 years, your long-term wealth was slashed by 38%. And it gets worse. Missing just the 10 best days wiped out a staggering 55% of your potential gains. Over half. The slow path of just keeping your cash parked in a basic savings account, it simply cannot compete. You have to be in the market.
But hey, before you risk your hard-earned cash, you really need to practice. And this is exactly where paper trading comes in. Pretty much all modern investment platforms have this feature now. It lets you use virtual money to test your strategies and refine your knowledge with zero financial risk. But I want to give you a massive word of warning here. You have got to treat this virtual money exactly like it's your real hard-earned money. If you don't, you're going to develop reckless habits, you'll change your strategies the second real capital is on the line, and you'll get completely different and likely disastrous results. Oh, and also make sure the platform you choose has smooth, easy-to-use charting features so you aren't fighting some clunky app just to track your growth. That brings us to step 4,
Building a diversified portfolio.
If you're wondering where to begin, a simple 3-fund portfolio is basically the perfect starting point to protect your wealth. Here's how it works. You allocate your capital into 3 main areas: a total U.S. stock market index fund, a total international stock index fund, and a total bond market fund. This setup is incredibly effective for long-term investing because it gives you this really broad diversification across completely different markets and asset classes. It perfectly balances that long-term growth you want while heavily reducing your risk exposure.
And finally, step 5, protecting your new empire. Now, understanding the difference between taking a calculated career risk and engaging in dangerous financial leverage, well, that's literally a matter of financial life and death. Leveraging your youth to quit a terrible job and start a side hustle, that is a highly calculated, extremely intelligent risk. Borrowing money to gamble in the stock market just to chase 50% returns, that is not a calculated risk. That is financial suicide. To really drive this home, our source shared a chilling cautionary tale. He was actually friends with a guy who was quite literally on the UK top 50 rich list. This guy hosted these incredible, lavish fireworks parties at his massive mansion. But when asked how his businesses generated so much cash, the friend admitted the money wasn't actually from the businesses at all. It was from heavily leveraging investments. His investment group was using borrowed money to chase 30 to 50% annual returns. And guess what? Just a few months later, that entire group went under. Because they were so over-leveraged, they lost considerably more than they actually invested. The friend was completely wiped out. He lost it all. Everything. Even the mansion.
To ensure you never, ever suffer that terrible fate, you have to aggressively diversify your income across multiple distinct streams. You should be aiming for a mix. Think active physical businesses like shops, digital media like affiliate or ad revenue, and passive assets like stock dividends or real estate. When you spread your investments across completely different industries and asset types like this, it pretty much guarantees that no single failure can ever wipe you out.
Look, building massive wealth from absolute zero is entirely possible, and honestly, the blueprint is right in front of you. But just knowing the blueprint, that isn't enough. It requires you to trust your own vision, absolutely ignore the doubt of your peers, and consistently step outside your comfort zone. So the real question I want to leave you with today is this. Are you willing to ignore the herd and risk your comfort today to secure your unbreakable financial empire tomorrow? Think on that for a bit, and then start making your next move.